Hello there, Eagles fans. Welcome back to Philly Eagles Therapy. I'm Basil,
And I'm Baz.
and we are recording Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Dad, how are we doing today?
Pretty good, man. It's getting a little bit warm, though. Too warm for this time of year. So glad we're down here in the basement where it's nice and cool.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Dad, we're in the dog days of the NFL year. I mean, you get that fun week of free agency. You know, you have Super Bowl, you got a little bit of downtime. You get that fun first week of free agency, some trades, some signings, some fun stuff there. But really, the end of mid March to end of March is just it's really too early to get excited for the draft. There's not much happening yet. You know, it's we're in the worst moment of sports history. It's before, you got there's basketball going on, but it's not postseason yet. Baseball hasn't started. I don't care about hockey at all, so whatever.
Right.
Soccer started, I guess, but our team sucks. So even then, it's just one of that time of year where you're kind of like, there is just nothing. I mean,
Very true. Very true.
yeah. But we're getting through it. So we'll get through it today by talking about some Eagles stuff. There's a lot to talk about. But first, let's give a shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles fan club of Colorado Springs. They watch the games at Rhino Sports and Spirits. For every single Eagles game, they are there here in Colorado Springs as my father's alarm goes off. Nothing important? Or is that your
Yeah,
dad?
that's the nighttime brush your teeth alarm.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're recording a little bit later than usual, but that's no problem for us. All right, Dad, let's jump into it. So, some big news to start off. Not super Eagles news, but Eagle related news that we want to jump into. Number one, we'll give a shout out to Darius Slay, calling it a career. He is retiring from the NFL after, what was it, 13 seasons in the NFL, I think? Yeah, 13 seasons in the NFL. A top, I would say top five Eagles cornerback of all time, probably top three or four, you could argue. Great career for him, and congrats on his retirement and a great career.
He's what started it all, really. Kind of
Yeah,
once we got him, he,
100%.
he kind of brought the team back and started playing great for us. And we going to miss him. He big play Slay, man. He made some big plays, and we had some pretty crappy teams there. So
Yeah,
he's
I mean, some
awesome.
other people, some other people already talked about it, but people kind of forget that now we have this kind of abundance of riches with cornerbacks. But before Slay, I mean, you had some good guys here and there. The Ronald Darby. You had Jalen. Oh my gosh, Jalen Mills.
Rodney McLeod, right?
Well, he's a safety. So see, here you are.
I always
Uh,
do that.
I know. You had Patrick Robinson. You had guys who had some good seasons here and there, but you never had we didn't have a corner that was,
Right.
for us, with us for a long time, who
Yeah.
was great. Since, Asante Samuel. I mean, that was the
Yeah,
last time
that's
that we had. So it was a long time period there where it was just like we were just patching up the cornerbacks. At one point, we had Bradley Fletcher, who's the worst player in NFL history. I
that was a
mean,
bad trade.
it was just everything. So once you got Slay, I mean, it really turned our team around. And I know we won the Super Bowl in 17, but he got here in 2020 and he just solidified it for us. He was with us. He was a three-time Pro Bowler, and he was fantastic from the get-go. Ever since he got here, he was with us for 5 seasons, 2020 all the way through 2024. Got to go to two Super Bowls, got to
Yeah.
win a Super Bowl, and he great thing about his career. Unfortunately, he never won a playoff game with Detroit, and with us, he got to go to two Super Bowls. So,
Yeah.
great career for him. Not a Hall of Famer, probably, unfortunately, but still a great guy
Yeah.
and a great player, and we'll always love him here in Philly.
Yeah, I would say, 28 picks in his career. He just made that when he came with us, man, he just made just some big plays. Got a couple touchdowns for us there, and I don't know, just kind of brought life back to the team for a team you after
Absolutely.
that after the first Super Bowl, we were kind of in the dog days there for a bit, and getting him was a huge free agent signing, which is something we really didn't see that often. So yeah,
No,
it's
yeah,
it's a great player.
100%. I agree with you. Next retiree, you want to mention Boston Scott. Not as prolific a career as Darius Slay, but a player who will be always beloved here in Philadelphia. The Giant Killer, which is incredible because it's actually on his Wikipedia page that he's called the Giant Killer, which is always great. When your nickname is mentioned in the first paragraph of Wikipedia, you love that.
Yeah.
He was a really good player for us. He was a really fun player for us, and he'll always have a legend here in the city of Philadelphia.
So let's see, he played for 5 years with us. 6 years.
Really?
6 years. Yeah, didn't do much that first year. Didn't play. It looks like maybe a couple returns, but
Yeah.
yeah. If you ever look at the best Eagles juke plays, he's on there
Oh
about
yeah.
6 different times. It got some
Yeah.
really great clips of him in an Eagles uniform, just punt returns and things like that. So yeah, well, just some of his touchdowns he had. He was great.
Yeah. No, he was awesome. And, he was with us through those dog days that we mentioned, even before Slay got here, the 2018, 2019, 2020, and through all those, he was pretty darn good. 18, he was first year with us as a rookie. But, I remember in 2019 when he first got his first chance at the Giants,
Yeah,
and it was like, whoa, this guy can make some moves. And then 2020, and that was when Miles Sanders was on the team, but Sanders had some injury issues. So he would fill in, and he would fill in great. And
yeah,
a really fun player that we're going to miss. The worst thing about his career, unfortunately, is he came here the year after we won a Super Bowl, and he left the year before we won a Super Bowl. And
yeah.
so he got sandwiched, and he didn't get to walk away with a Super Bowl. And
But he
I've
did
always
play.
said,
He did play in the 2022 Super Bowl. At least they got it
yeah,
up here.
yeah,
But now for returns, he kick returner, right? Not punt returner. He
correct.
didn't return punts. Yeah.
I don't think so.
So we had one punt return in the playoff season of the 2022 year, a 29-yarder. So it's kind of
Yeah,
cool. But
but
yeah,
it's a
I
bummer.
remember the 3 touchdown game against the Giants that time.
Yeah, he's
The three,
awesome.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, he was great. But yep, congrats to him on a retirement. Yeah. All right, let's get into some free agency talk. So we haven't talked since the first day of free agency. So the Max Crosby thing happened. We're a little, we don't break the news. We just talk about it. So we
Right,
don't
right,
need to
right.
really be breaking news and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
we'll talk about the Eagles stuff. So retainment. I'm just going to go with the guys that we retained. Grant Calcaterra coming back. I know you're probably kind of disappointed in that as much as I am.
I mean, we talked about it, and when you did that stay or go, I probably gave him a big stay, big go. So what can I say? But yeah, it just hasn't done much for us. I mean, a couple catches here and there. You kind of he had the potential, you thought, but yeah, he just never really did
Yeah,
it for us.
it's just so weird because in 2024, in 17 games, and he got some starts because Goddard was injured and stuff like that.
Right,
24 catches, 298 yards, one touchdown. You thought there was kind of something there, and
right.
last year that drops down to 9 catches for 76 yards and still a touchdown. It's just kind of just disappointing. Like I
It
mean,
is.
it's really disappointing.
Because you could see that one year when he had the 24 catches that he had some speed and some get open ability, and you're like, okay, let's build on that, and it just didn't happen.
And I think the other disappointing thing about it is he's not a good blocker at all. Like
Right, right.
not not good at all. So you're
No,
kind of
and
like, well, what is he bringing if
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not catching the ball?
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, like I say, it looked like he had some speed. A couple of those catches were pretty good ones too, 20, 30 yarders. And yeah, and I think they used him for blocking somewhat last year, and you could tell it just wasn't there. It wasn't there at
Yeah,
all.
I agree. Next one, another tight end. We'll mention this one, Dallas Goddard. The big news: 1 year, $7 million. I mean, this one's a shock, and I didn't think. There were some players like you mentioned Nakobe Dean, of course. We already talked about that, but I had no really 0.01% chance he was going to be back.
Right.
Goddard, I thought there was a fair chance he's going to be back,
Yeah,
but I
I
just
did.
can't. I just don't understand his number. Like,
Yeah.
does he have no? Does he just not want to leave Philly? Like,
Right.
I just don't
Right. Well, yeah.
understand.
Well, that was one of the things that I said to you when we talked about him was, I mean, obviously we had to wait for free agency, but then after that, I'm like, if there's no takers, I mean, it would be bad for him to leave. It's like we need to be together. You know what I mean? Like he needs to be on the team. On our team, he's a big time player.
Yeah,
Star kind of player. I mean, he's that dang good. But yeah, I just didn't see him going. And I believe I said this on one of the pods. I just don't think if he went somewhere else, he would have that same effect. I just didn't think he would have it. So I'm super glad he's back. I think it's
yeah,
gigantic because, now we don't really have to go into it, at least this season, saying we need a tight end. We said last year in the draft we should have drafted one. We didn't. This year, I think we're going to have to take a flyer on somebody if it's not early, at least a third or fourth round pick, fifth round pick, and get another guy in the house.
yeah. I would say even with him back, you're still looking at another tight end coming in the draft. I think day two. I think you're talking second, third round. I
Yeah.
think you're getting a tight end. We have 4 draft picks in the top 98. I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those is a tight end.
I mean, it's funny because last year was statistically his best year with not catches and yards, but touchdowns. I mean, I know some of them were those short yardage ones, but it doesn't matter. A touchdown's a touchdown, and I believe he broke the single season Eagle touchdown for a tight end record. So I mean, that's pretty awesome. And he
Yeah.
played all the games. He wasn't injured last year, so that was another thing that made you think he was going to probably go somewhere else. But I'm glad he's coming back. He is 31 years old, so this might have been, he took what he could get, and then, 7 mil's not too bad.
Yeah. And the thing about Goddard, you mentioned you said the high in tight ends, the 11 touchdowns, and you said not the yards or catches, but we should mention he did have his career high in catches. 60 catches was his career
Okay,
high
okay,
by one catch, and
okay,
then yards it was his third career high only by
yeah,
1 yard. So he had his highest yards is 830. His second was 592, and last year he had 591. So basically, he had
yeah,
his second best season ever,
right, right,
technically.
right,
It's to be fair.
yeah,
So, all in all, but it is surprising to me still to think that his value is just so low.
yeah. Especially in light of some of the other tight ends that are definitely not better than he is that got better money.
Yes, I
So,
mean he
you
got.
know,
We said the 1 year 7 million. I won't mention the Isaiah Likely. He's younger and probably going to be better player.
right.
But who's the guy from that was from the Giants? Bellinger.
Yes,
Bellinger. Didn't he
yes,
get 8 million?
yeah.
And then there's also. I know. I'm sorry. I should have had them all written down or
There was
anything.
a
But
couple guys though.
there's a couple guys and players that nowhere near his level got more than him.
Yeah,
And only a million more, 2 million more, whatever. But like,
right.
still, it's just like he must really just want to be in Philadelphia, and
Well, I'll tell
that's
you
great.
what.
I mean,
When he comes running out of the tunnel that first home game, they better give him a huge, huge applause and a huge thanks for coming back and believing in our team. Because,
yeah,
like I say, he could have went to anybody else probably, and again, I don't think he'd have the impact that he does having for playing for us.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. I'm very happy he's back. I agree with you. He should get a lot of praise and a lot of love on that first home game
I agree.
because I mean for him to sacrifice. I mean, we don't know what his value should have been, but
Right.
man, he just the fact that he seems like he wants to be here
Yeah.
is just great.
Kind of like Jaelan Phillips, right?
Nice, yeah. That best thing that ever happened in his life. Next one to mention, I want to mention Braden Mann, the punter. Huge, big deal for him. 4 years, 14 million. Makes him one of the highest paid punters in the league, and it's important. He's one of the best punters in the league.
Boy.
He was amazing last year. I mean, how many games do we lose if he's worse?
Well,
You
just
know what
go
I mean?
back to that Detroit game and the
Yep.
Green Bay game when the weather was just awful, and he banged a few really awesome punts there in a couple of those games. So yeah, I'm glad he's coming back too. And I don't know his age, but hopefully he's going to be able to play that 4 years for us because he's
Oh yeah,
played well.
he's still a young guy. I'm going to pull up the Tampa
Good.
Bay game because that was the game where we didn't complete a pass in the second half. Did we get a first down in the second half? It was one of those
I
games that, yeah. So in
yeah
that game, he had 7 punts for 363 yards. That's a 51.9 average, 52-yard average, a
yeah
long of 63, two inside the 20. I
man.
mean, do you win that game without him doing that?
I don't think
Like,
so. Yeah.
how many games were like that?
Well, that was
Even
that was a jump out early game and hang on with your skin of your teeth for the rest of the game.
well, even in the playoff game, the Niners, 4 punts, 208 yards, 51 per punt, 58 for a long. Buffalo, which we won by the skin of our teeth, 7
Yes.
punts, 388 yards, 55 for an average, 65 long, two inside the 20. I mean, he was amazing this year, and
Yeah.
I don't, it wasn't a great season, so I don't want to, be like, hey, he saved the
Right.
season, but how much worse would it have been without this guy punting for our team?
Yeah. Definitely would have been more. Those fourth quarters would have been a lot longer, I think.
Yes. So total in the season, he averaged 49.9, so 50 yards per punt. Just say
Right.
that. 70 for a long. God, that's great. 43 net average, which is great. No blocked. Zero inside the 10, which that one got ruined by some stupid special team play, and then 20 inside the 20. So,
Yeah, well, you know what I always say. Stop trying to get it at the two, get it at the six, get it at the seven. These guys always try to play that game where they try to get it on the half-inch line. And to me, that's a stat that I think punters have always been, I don't know, they get messed up on. Just get it inside the 15, get it inside just get it there, get it inside the 20. I don't need it at the
I,
five.
I agree.
Drives me crazy.
It doesn't have to be at the one every time, guys. Like,
Yeah,
I know it's great if it happens. That's awesome.
it
But it's
is.
okay. I'd rather it be at the three than the 20. So it's okay if it's just at the three. Just catch
I
it at the
agree.
three. We don't need to risk the whole, yeah, slap it. And then, he's on the line. It's a touchback. Like,
Right, right.
it's okay. Just get it at the four. It's
And if it's
okay.
and if it's rolling, don't go near it. Just it's stopping. It's stopping. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else you wanted to mention? I mean, we restructured Jake Elliott's deal. There's been some reports that Brandon Graham's going to be coming back, which I think a lot of us are hoping for and expecting.
Yeah,
But that's about everything that's happened on the inside. Mostly everybody leaving. It's pretty crazy.
yeah,
Last time we talked, we went over the big names last time. Blankenship, Jaelan Phillips, Dotson. We talked about that. We talked about AJ Dillon, I think. But now
yeah.
you mentioned Kylan Granson, Sam Howell's gone, Aziz Ojolari and Josh Uche are gone for
Yeah.
real.
Good.
Brett Toth, Matt Pryor. That's yeah, everybody. So
Yeah.
it's Reed
To-
Blankenship. We talked about that,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
But so
Toth would have been nice to keep, but come on, let's get another young guy in there. Come on, we got to do better. Give me a second or third round pick that's gonna. We don't have to worry about Brett Toth, who's been around forever.
yeah. Well, let's go through the free agents here before I ask the next question. But the
Sure.
guys that we signed. So we talked about the Johnny Munt that was earlier on, and then after we had that last podcast that we recorded, at the end of that episode, I talked about players that were still out there that I wanted us to maybe go after, and one of the names on there was Tariq Woolen, who we ended up getting, which so far is probably the biggest news of the offseason. So we signed Tariq Woolen, free agent from the Seahawks, for a 1-year, $12 million contract. That I personally love this. Like I said, I wanted this guy. I wanted us to go after this guy. Give me your thoughts on this.
I think he's going to fit in. He's got one of those chip on the shoulder type players. He plays really rough. If you watched the Super Bowl at all, he was the guy that was on the sidelines heckling the other team there for a while and got a
Well, that
big
was
penalty.
the NFC
Yeah,
Championship game.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was a bad move there. But you got to love a player like that plays like that. And that kind of gives you the Philly talk. The Philly look. He's going to play with really tough and maybe sometimes has to be pulled away from the sidelines. But other than that, I think it's a great signing. And I think it's going to fit with what we've got going on right now with the two other guys,
Yep,
Coop
I
and
agree. Oh, I think it's great.
Quinion.
I mean, we
Yeah,
mentioned it. We talked about it in the last pod, but this is just
yeah,
great. It's a great second guy. Number two, number three, whatever you want to call it.
right.
It's a perfect complementary thing for these corners that we have.
Yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
Next one, big one that I wanted to talk about that just happened yesterday, no Tuesday. Marquise Hollywood Brown, huge signing. I mean, I don't want to say huge signing because it's projected to be our number three wide receiver, but this is a former first round pick who was drafted by Baltimore. Never really lived up to it. He had some good seasons, some okay seasons. He had 1,000-yard season before,
Yeah,
but has never really been that number one pick that people expected.
yeah,
Last year for Kansas City, 49 catches, 587 yards, 5 touchdowns, and that was a season where they weren't very good.
right,
So if that's your three, and we're expecting it not to be because we're not expecting the AJ to be gone.
right.
I think it's a really great signing for a good number three.
Well,
Probably,
it's funny because we always talk about, we got a speedster that's going to stretch the field. So hopefully he's the guy that does that. We've had those type of players in the past. They couldn't catch the ball or they wouldn't catch the ball, but hopefully he can get in there. And, being the fact that he was a number one pick, maybe trying to prove himself a little bit, and hopefully he can live up to it. 49 catches last year, that's a heck of a lot more than our third receiver did last year. And this guy is 10 times better than that guy. So to me, it's a no-brainer, really, a no-brainer, and you're not paying way too much money for him. It's a little bit higher than we paid Jahan last year, who got about 2.5 mil. This guy's getting 6 mil, 6.5. So to me, it's great signing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good signing. I think it's a low risk, high reward if it works out. So it's also one of those things where if it doesn't work out, we're not going to be coming on here next offseason going, "What an idiot, Howie!" Like
Right,
we know what can happen. We know that our third wide receivers never really do much here,
right.
but it could still be really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were talking about it upstairs. You gotta have that guy. You can't just throw to three different players, four different players, and hopefully he gets on Jalen's good side, as they say, or he gets to prove himself to be reliable or something like that. Because we definitely need another player like that. We need a player that you can't just throw it to four guys. You got to spread it around. Look at some of these teams throw it to seven, eight guys a game in the first half, and you and I are like, we've only thrown it to two different people. You just need to have it.
Yep. Next one, Arnold Ebiketie. I say we just call him AE from now on. That
Yeah,
way I don't have to butcher his name every single time.
yeah,
Former Penn Stater, former Temple guy. So been in the Philly area. Been known in the Pennsylvania quarter of the world for a little bit.
right.
He's a four-year player going to his fifth year, so he's a veteran. Former what was it? Is he yeah, second round pick, 38th overall. So high legacy there.
Right.
Pretty good pedigree, and a couple 6 sack seasons. Uh, Not last year; he only had 2 sacks, unfortunately. But the years before that, he had 6 sacks 2 years in a row. Now, last year, of course, they did draft some guys in the first round to take up that line position, stuff like that. So he did lose some playing
Right.
time. But
Yeah.
I think I think it's one of those signings that you look at as, oh yeah, it's similar to the Hollywood Brown, low risk, high reward. It's
Yeah.
another veteran, a guy who's been in the league 5 years. He's a speedster. 4.66 40-yard dash as an edge, pretty darn good. So you hope that he can give us a couple sacks next year
I, I
in that room with the other young guys.
I believe he's a little undersized, right? He's not very, very big guy.
Six
Six
foot two,
two,
250. So
two
basically,
fifty. So
got
yeah. So I
prototype now.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it is really. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with those guys. But he's only signed for 4.3 guaranteed, 7 mil total. So that's that. Again, it's not a break a bank, but it goes back to the whole thing, the way Howie plays it. He stays away from early free agency. He lets to see who's getting the money and then who's not, and then starts picking and choosing and probably breaking down a lot of film on these guys. So yeah, AE looks like he's just going to be another guy that we're going to use, and hopefully he shines and hopefully he picks it up for us.
Yep. Next signing, Jonathan Jones, a guy who was on the Commanders last year, spent his whole career before that on the Patriots, two-time Super Bowl champion. He got to spend some times there and get a couple championship rings on his fingers, which is nice. Played at Auburn, undrafted back in 2016. So for an undrafted player, he's made a great career for himself.
Sure
Last
did.
year, last year he played all 16 games. It was the first time that he played all 16 and started all 16. He had 4 interceptions for 89 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 passes deflected. So it was his best season last year. He is on the older side. He's 32 years old, so he's on the wrong side of 30 for a
Right.
cornerback, as we like to say. He will be turning 33 during the season, September 20th. So he's getting up there in age, but I
Right.
mean, it's great to see a guy who had his best season of his career last year,
Right.
and not much tread on the tires because he wasn't really playing full. He wasn't really getting full playing time in his career
Right.
early on.
Right. Well, 4 picks. We needed some. We're not we're not known now as a team that gets a lot of interceptions. So
It's weird.
hopefully he's. I know he. Hopefully he's a ball hawk. I mean, what's got two, and they're both in the playoffs, and Coop's the same way. He got his first one in the playoff game. So we definitely need a ball hawk. Hopefully Makuba can do it too. So
Coop got his first in the Super Bowl. Let's take
yeah,
it easy
yeah,
there with the
but
playoff game.
yeah, but did he did he get any last year, Coop?
I think he had two in the regular season,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I remember him
Yeah,
getting
because
that one tipped ball, but I was hoping he
yes,
took that back, but he didn't take it back for a
he
TD.
did
But
not. He did not. And of course, with this offense, you can't score. When it's short field, when it's a long field, you can't score ever.
we
So
were praying for it. Yeah, but
yeah,
so I mean, yeah, if you got a guy that's like you say, his best season last year, he's an 11th. I think he's going into his 11th year, so like you say, he's got a lot of age behind him. But sometimes that's what you need, that veteran. So
yeah.
hopefully he shows up.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for numbers to be released, and then we get to have a numbers talk about what people numbers are, especially after the draft. We'll see who everybody's numbers
Yeah.
are. Oh, I can't wait. That's the highlight
Yeah,
of my
yeah,
highlight of the offseason is not the
yeah,
draft. It's when
yeah,
everyone gets their numbers. I love
yeah. Yes, Steve texted me too. He can't wait for it either.
it. I can't. I bet Steve can't wait for us to talk about the union coming up soon. Two more free agents to go over. Damian Pierce. It's funny because Damian Pierce, one of those running backs I talked about with a friend of mine at work who's a Broncos fan. And we talked about Damian Pierce, one of those running backs who early in his career, he was the bell cow for the Texans and had a pretty darn good season for his rookie year. Let me see. He was a fourth round pick, 107th overall. First year with Houston, 220 attempts, 939 yards, 4 touchdowns, receiving touchdown and 30 catches, 4.3 average. And you're like, oh, wow, great rookie season. He's going to
Yeah,
have a pretty good career. And then after that, he gets 145 carries. Then last year he only gets 40 carries. And you're just kind of like, it just kind of blows you away when you're just like, well, why? What did he
right,
do? Like, why
right. And
did,
no catches last year. That's another
yeah.
thing.
Well, and then, his rookie year, he only played 13 games. His second year, he played 14 games, but he only started 7. So they got another starter, of course, but you're just kind of like, well, why? He was pretty darn good. Like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's just always funny.
he had how many touchdowns? 2 touchdowns, but one of them was the longest of the season for running backs at 92 yards. So,
92. Isn't that
I
funny?
mean, he had 7.3 yards a carry, but I mean, only 40 carries. So,
So yeah, 39 carries for 291 yards. If you take, or sorry, for 201 yards, if you're
right.
taking away the 92. No,
Yeah.
it's just funny when this happens in a player to compare it to. You remember Philip Lindsay?
Yeah.
Philip was that his name? Philip Lindsay for the Broncos.
Lindley, maybe?
Was it Lindley? I'm sorry if
Maybe.
I'm saying that wrong. No, let me see. Philip Lindsay. Yeah, that's right. Philip Lindsay. God, he's old now, but he was an undrafted free agent. He was from Denver. He went to Colorado. He undrafted free agent goes to Denver, and rookie year, 192 attempts, 1,037 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5.4 average,
Right.
35 catches, another touchdown, 241 receiving yards, and the next year, he gets another 1,000 yard season. So I shouldn't say the next year, but and then after
Right.
that, it's whoa. Why are you not playing? They took him away. Like you're like, why? It's just
I
so
mean,
funny.
it does happen. I mean, you wonder why, but Joe Mixon came in and bumped him from Houston.
Yep.
That's why that was probably an off season signing. So
Yes.
that hurt him there. But you're right, and he's only 26 years old, so that's a big thing. And we don't really we could use running back help. I mean, guys to set back. We got Tank, of course, and we got Shipley, but you never know. And the competition's good too.
Yep. And the last signing we wanted to mention Stone Smart, who actually we signed today. Same with
Smart
Damian Pierce. So Stone Smart to 2 T's in that spot.
Yeah.
Um, Another undrafted player who went to 3 different colleges. Undrafted player back in 2022. He's going to be going to his 5th season. So another undrafted player who's made a career for himself.
Right.
Only has 31 catches for 380 yards, 1 touchdown. So he's a big dude. He's 6'4", 226. Seems to be another addition to the blocking tight end area that we're kind of
Right.
fixing right now.
Right. Right.
And
Well, did you mention
you know,
Johnny Mund? Johnny Mund?
yeah, I think we talked about it last week
Yeah.
when we recorded, but
Okay.
yeah, it seems like they're just kind of, we're adding a lot of tight ends here.
Yeah.
Johnny Munt, Stone Smart, and then we kept Calcaterra and
Calcaterra
Goddard.
and Goddard.
And you're kind
Right.
of like, whoa, like, that's a lot of tight ends, not including, EJ Jenkins, who already on the roster,
Yeah.
the fullback kid. Thank you. Yeah,
Latu.
Cameron
Yeah.
Latu.
Yeah.
So quite a few tight ends on the roster. It seems like they're kind of bringing a lot of guys in and just saying
Right.
we just got to find someone who can do the job and get it
Yeah.
done because we got to get some blockers out here.
Yeah.
That seemed to be last year. You could say the offensive line injuries was the big reason that it wasn't as good. But how many times did a guy, Saquon's going outside and he gets tackled by the edge, and you see the tight end standing there, and you're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. Or missing. Yes.
you could count on you couldn't count it on 6 hands how many times that happened. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. It's
it
true.
happens so much. So I
Yeah.
think it is very important to address the tight end position as important as it is to address the offensive line
Yeah.
depth position.
And even if it's a guy that goes for, and they do the heavy package, and you put Mund out there on the outside, and he's just blocking, that's okay.
Yeah. So that's everything we had with free agents that we had leaving and coming in. But we did want to mention a trade happened yesterday. Trade for Andy Dalton for the
Right.
Carolina Panthers. We sent them a 2027 seventh round pick. So you're giving up nothing for him.
Right.
And yeah, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? How do you think this factors into the Tanner McKee trade talks that are going on?
Yeah, I think when they got the red rifle, they think they might be, you got a veteran guy, 38-year-old. It's been around forever. I've watched him play many times. I think, he's a serviceable guy. And if they do get the right deal for Tanner, if they get the right, somebody comes to him with the right numbers, they might end up trading him. And I think Andy Dalton is a guy that could come in and maybe play a couple games for you. I mean, he's had some good games in his past. I think he's 4-0 against the Eagles in his career. So,
I was gonna say he's had some,
yeah,
he's the greatest. He's the greatest against the Eagles ever.
yeah, I mean, I think he's got over 109 point something passing rating against the Eagles, and I mean he's been around for a long time. Cincinnati
Yeah,
forever. So,
yeah,
and I remember seeing him play. He's a big kid, but 38 makes you kind of worry a little bit. But at the same time, if we get I don't know, a 3 or a 4 for Tanner McKee, which you know, if it's the right deal, I would take it. We only have him for this season. Jalen
yeah,
did not miss anything last year, so you got to look at that. And if somebody comes at you, maybe you hold on to him for a while and wait till after the draft, and then somebody goes down or a quarterback decides to retire. It's a different league we play in nowadays. That stuff
yeah,
happens. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good move. I mean, we lost Sam Howell, as everyone knows, to the Cowboys. So, what the heck?
yeah. Like you mentioned, 38 years old, and yeah, three-time Pro Bowler. Good for him. He's got a little legacy that he's left behind in the league. He'll be remembered. But yeah, no, it's weird. It's kind of like it's one of those players that you're kind of like that's too good of a player to be our third string quarterback.
True.
Not to say he should be a starter or anything, but
Right.
you're kind of like, ooh, like that's too good to be our third string. Like we might
Yeah,
it does kind of reveal to you there might be some talks for Tanner McKee.
there might
I
be.
mentioned to you before the podcast. I wonder if there's a team that maybe is going to try to do the Tanner McKee AJ Brown package where they give us a first, a second, and a third for AJ and Tanner over a
Right.
2-year draft. A first,
Sure.
yeah, something like that. A first, second,
Yeah.
third for Tanner and AJ. I wonder if they do something like that.
Yeah.
And if that's an option, I might take that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder if there's a team out there that's going to try to do that type of
Well, it's
package with
funny we
those
were
two
talking about
guys.
like who needs a quarterback now, right? We
Yeah.
we maybe leave it in the comments if you can or something if you have an idea. But we thought really Cardinals and the Jets that are in that early pick that we would say, yeah, we'd love to have their second round for him
Yes.
or their third round pick. It's not a eighth round pick. You know what I'm saying? They want a throwaway one.
Yeah.
We would, it's got to be the right deal. I wouldn't just give Tanner away, but at the same time, this might be pointing at something like that. And you're right; they might have something going on with another team that are saying, "Let's wait till after the draft. If we don't get that kid we want, we might go for this guy." So it's very possible.
So teams that need a quarterback. I mean, there's more teams that need a quarterback, of course, but but I'm not going to mention teams that just signed one or something like that. So,
Right, right.
uh,
Or
you know,
drafting one.
Jets need a quarterback because they traded Geno. They traded for
Right.
Geno, but they still need a quarterback.
Yes.
The Browns, I know they have Shador, but we'll say that they kind of still need a quarterback. The
Yeah.
Raiders, obviously, but they're going to be drafting the guy.
Yes.
No
Yes.
one in the NFC East needs one.
Right.
No one in the NFC North needs one. If the Vikings just got Kyler Murray, so maybe them. But they just signed Carson Wentz, so they're set too.
Right. Right. Yeah. They got
The
AJ.
Saints, the Saints may need a quarterback, but they got Tyler Shuck, who's all
Yeah.
pro,
Yeah.
and
He's
then
good.
it's the Cardinals. So it's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder. There's not many teams that are kind of desperate for a quarterback, but
Right.
if they are desperate for a quarterback, they're going to be drafting one. But it is a quarterback
Yeah.
week draft, so
I
there
mean,
could be some movement.
Pittsburgh's a possibility as well. I mean,
That's
you don't
fair.
know what's
Yep,
going to happen there. If
that's a
if
great
if
place. Yeah,
if Aaron doesn't come back, and yeah, that's a team that made the playoffs. They were kind of weak in certain areas, but they could probably use a quarterback if Aaron doesn't come back, or even if he does come back, and they're looking at signing him for a 3 4 year deal and going with him down the future because he's still a young kid, and we've seen him play really well at times.
yep. All right, so tell me, Dad, what position on the Eagles do we need to fill? What is the most important position that needs filling on the Eagles?
All right, we talking in the draft here coming up, or just overall?
Overall.
Overall, it's offensive line, I think. I think it's offensive line. Now, if we're going to play tomorrow, I say it's defensive end. If we were going to play
Okay.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
and the line's okay, but for the future, draft wise, I believe
Yeah.
that's where we need to head. We need to
Okay.
head. We're set it, running back and quarterback and tight end now, obviously. Offensive line, probably that would be one of the big ones. But if we were playing tomorrow, it's a defensive end. We need a top tier, top 18th pick guy like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of agree with you. Like in the long run, I agree the offensive tackle thing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say safety for the
Okay.
other side of it. So you have Makuba, you haven't signed Epps yet. I'm assuming we'll sign him to bring him back. We don't know.
Right.
So the only safeties for legit safeties we have are going to be Makuba and Sidney Brown, and it just seems like they have absolutely zero belief in Sidney Brown. So
I don't. I don't. Yeah.
yeah,
No.
that
No.
to be fair, you're right. I don't either,
No.
but it just seems like
So
that's
many
going to be the
opportunities.
Rockies.
So many opportunities. No.
And I know they have Michael Carter, so maybe they might play him at safety. We don't know, but I'm gonna go with safety on that.
Yeah, you
So
mentioned Michael Carter, and I know when we re-signed him, I kind of went, "What are we going off of?" I mean, we picked him up early in the season, mid-season, and I never saw him on the field. I don't think he might have played, but
yeah,
I just don't remember seeing him
I,
play. And I'm like, "Well, if he's the guy, get him out there."
yeah, I think with him, it's just kind of one of those things where they're kind of they had John Mechie, and they're just trying to recoup value. Like you're just
Right.
like, oh, this guy's not going to play, so can
Yeah.
we get a defensive back who can play
Yeah.
special teams? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel
They
like
did
that's kind of what
re-sign
they
him,
did
but
there.
I mean, they just re-signed him, so something's happening. But I just wanted to see some tape or something, and
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any.
So in the first four picks of the draft, we have four picks in the first 100. Sorry, the first 98.
Right.
I think it's going to be two offensive linemen. I think it's going to be an edge and a tight end in those four positions.
Okay.
I think in those four spots, I think we walk away. I'm not going to say first round and second round is this one, but I
Right.
think you're going to walk away with two linemen, an edge, or two O linemen, an edge, and a tight end.
Yeah, well, definitely the edge. Maybe second round. I don't know how well, you can't really because you don't know how it's going to fall. You don't know if
Yeah,
Howie's going to trade a three and a one to move up. We don't know what's going to happen there.
yeah.
But
I would more so expect it to be if I'll do it. Offensive lineman first round, edge second round, tight end third
offense,
round,
okay,
safety fourth round.
okay,
Or sorry, not fourth round, but the fourth pick or whatever is what I was
right,
saying.
yeah.
Maybe
I
safety. Yeah, maybe a
yeah.
safety in there.
I mean, it depends if the eighth overall safety's still on the board and we're looking at the late third round.
Yeah,
I say you got to get them, but yeah, I definitely know we need to rebuild the offensive line for sure. Maybe a center who can play guard type player and see what happens there.
yeah. All right, we got to fly through this. Only about a minute and a half left. Let's fly through this. Other
Gotcha.
sports, the Phillies, the World Baseball Classic. We'll mention that. The Phillies, they start the season, or sorry, their home open. Oh my God, the Rockies home openers is against the Phillies. So I'll be going to the Phillies game coming up in April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. World Baseball Classic, U.S. lost it, but at least Bryce Harper got a nice home run, 2-run homer to give us a chance. So at least the Phillies to look a little bit like heroes and in a
Represent,
small
represent.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
The Union 0-4, horrible start to the season for them. The Sixers 37-32. They're about to play the Kings tonight. They're the ninth seed in the East, so they're in the play-in. I went to the Sixers game against the Nuggets earlier this week. They got annihilated. I wasn't surprised. Embiid didn't play. Maxey didn't play. Kelly Oubre didn't play. Paul George didn't play. It was
Wow.
just like nothing's going to happen here. I got to see Edgecombe. That was cool. Flyers 32, 23, and 12. They are fifth in the Eastern. I'm not going to go any more into that. And that's everything there.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Uh,
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like Philly Eagles Therapy, do us a favor. Rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts on free agency so far. If you want to send us an email or anything, you can send it to us at phillyeaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Philly Eagles Therapy, I'm Basil.
and I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.